Hello chess lovers, Suren here, and in this video I want to share with you a very exciting game played between Azerbaijani chess grandmaster Teimour Radjabov and Norwegian chess grandmaster Magnus Carlsen. The game was played in 2008 at Baku Grand Prix. Radjabov was playing with the white pieces opened up with e4, to which Carlsen responded with Sicilian defense c5, knight f3 d6, d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, knight f6, knight c3 and g6. Carlsen goes for the razor-sharp dragon variation. Usually strong players are avoiding this line because this requires a huge theoretical knowledge, and also in view of the fact that the upcoming positions are double-edged, one inaccuracy can be lethal. That's why, taking into consideration these facts, we don't see very often dragon variation at the highest level nowadays. But this time we have a rare chance to enjoy dragon. Moreover, it's the future world chess champion who is playing this line. Qd2, black castles kingside, and we have the Yugoslav attack with bishop c4. Other popular alternative is castling queenside straight away, but this allows black to play d5, and this is a completely different line. That's why we first see bishop c4, and after bishop d3, Radjabov made a prophylactic bishop b3 move. In here, if you hurry and castle queenside straight away, then black can go for Chinese variation, a line which was played between these two players months later when Carlsen was on the white side. But meanwhile, in our game after bishop d7, we have bishop b3, rook c8, and the can opener marches forward h4. White's idea is simple: to sacrifice a pawn, open up the h-file, offer the exchange of dark squared bishops, and announce a checkmate. In theory, all this looks simple, but in practice everything is not so easy. h5. Of course, Carlsen could allow h5 and could proceed with knight e5, another popular line, but he decided to stop white's further advancement with h5. But with h5 he surrendered the g5 square. Here we have castling queenside, and after knight e5, white's dark squared bishop occupied the g5 square. Rook c5. Black not only wants to play b5, but also in some lines the rook can be very useful on the fifth rank when organizing the defense. King b1, we see another prophylactic move, and rook e8. Black is overprotecting the pawn on e7, and also in some lines if white plays bishop h6, then black can answer with bishop h8, thus keeping alive the dark squared bishop. I want you to get the idea of rook e8 in detail. For example, in here if you go for b5, then white can play g4, and to h takes g4 can play h5, and after knight takes h5, white can play knight d5 hitting on e7. And now if rook e8, then white is managing to gain a precious tempo and can go for an exchange sacrifice, and this is a line which favors white. White has an initiative. Now I have to tell you that the position still remains highly complex and double-edged. But in our game after king b1, we first see rook e8 by Carlsen, and g4, a very aggressive move by Radjabov. After the game, Radjabov admitted that he had mixed up two lines. In here, rook e1 or bishop h6 are considered to be more popular, but in our game we have g4. So, starting from this move on, white is going for a breakthrough by sacrificing his pawns and pieces one after another. H takes g4, h5, knight takes h5. At all costs, white wants to open up black's kingside, and after knight takes h5, we have a standard exchange sacrifice. Rook takes h5, g takes h5, queen h2, knight g6, queen takes h5. By relying on this pin, white wants to win the knight on g6. Queen a5 by Carlsen, and now if we move like queen takes g6, then black can play e6. Right now the bishop is hanging and the queen, and yeah, this is not good. That's why after queen a5 we have f4. Queen takes g6 can be a nice threat, and e6 is not really good because of this f5. That's why after f4, Carlsen gave back the exchange by playing rook takes g5, f takes g5. Still, this knight is hanging, that's why finally black is neutralizing white's light squared bishop by unpinning the pawn on f7. Knight f5. Radjabov keeps on playing an aggressive chess, but this is an inaccuracy. Instead, capturing on g4 looks more solid and leads to an equal game. Instead, white is adding more fuel to the fire. Knight f5, e takes f5, and once the e pawn is removed, we have queen takes g6, bishop e6. Well, at this point, white could go for the exchange of bishops and play queen takes f5, though I have to tell you that even in this case, black is maintaining advantage. Yeah, black is doing better, but instead we have queen h5, which is even worse. F takes e4, rook f1. White is creating a very dangerous bishop takes e6 threat, emphasizing the vulnerability of the h5 e8 diagonal and the weakness of the f7 pawn. Queen e5, black is neutralizing the threat and at the same time is making the knight on c3 immobile in view of the weakness of the long diagonal. But it turns out that apart from bishop takes f7 threat, white created another threat, and that is rook takes f7. Look at this beauty, guys. Yes, Radjabov is throwing into the attack every possible piece. Sacrifices are all over the board and I can see the board burning. But still, Carlsen is managing to defend accurately. A takes b3. By the way, as you may have already guessed, capturing on f7 is not good because this leads to a checkmate. That's why after rook takes f7, we see bishop takes b3, a takes b3, and g3. So all Carlsen needs is to make use of his passed pawns. King a2, rook f8, after which the exchange of rooks followed. King takes f8, queen g4, e3, g6, and e2. Still, black is relying on the vulnerability of the long diagonal and is trying to make use of his passed pawn, but it turns out that this e2 is an inaccuracy. Well, so far so good. Carlsen's game was accurate, but with e2 he is allowing white to give a perpetual check. Instead, playing bishop f6, king e8 or king e7 are better, and the problem with this e2 is that by playing queen d7, white could equalize. Right now there is a direct mating threat, and if queen e7, then white can give a perpetual check. This is a draw. Yeah, this is a draw. White is managing to save the game, but instead after e2, Radjabov announced a check from f3, after which he will never gain another chance to give a perpetual check, and now black is managing to defend accurately. Some more checks followed, but it turns out that black's position is solid, and there it goes. After queen d5, the second black queen appears on the board. Queen a8 check, king d7, queen b7 check, and after king e8 we have a resignation, because soon white can no longer announce checks. For example, if queen c8, then simply queen d8 and the game is over. That's why after king e8 resignation followed. A very impressive game, I think. Both players played a marvelous chess. Radjabov made countless sacrifices, but Carlsen's defense was super solid. Probably this is the first time when I'm publishing a game played by Carlsen where he's demonstrating brilliant defensive skills. The only time when Carlsen made an inaccuracy was on move 31, with which he gave a chance his opponent to give a perpetual check, but if I'm not mistaken, at that point Radjabov was already in a serious time trouble and he missed the drawing line. In the end, a chess puzzle for you where the task is to find the mating line for black. It's black to move, and I will wait for your answer in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Here are more suggestions for you. Feel free to check them out as well. I will see you in my next video. Take care.